The Vanity of Human Vices by Samuel Johnson in 1749, the 10th satire of Juvenal imitated. A philosophical satire in heroic couplets on the folly of worldly ambition and the search for true happiness through virtue and divine wisdom. Written late 1748, while Johnson worked on a dictionary of English language, reportedly wrote the first 70 lines in one morning. Published January 9, 1749 by Robert Dodsley. Earned only 15 guineas but is now regarded as Johnson's finest poem. Listen to Juvenal. Loose imitation of Juvenal satire 10. Johnson modernizes example and emphasizes moral reflection and Christian hope. Relevance to Johnson's life reflects his struggle with poverty, illness, melancholy, and close observation of human ambition and its failure. Structure and form. Heroic couplet length 360 lines in about 25 sections of varying length, and method is a cumulative argument that moves from general observations to specific examples ending in moral and Christian resolution. So overall movement is universal survey of human folly, catalogue of vain wishes, wealth, power, learning, fame, beauty, long life, historical example of downfall, and turn to virtue, prayer and divine wisdom. So section by section summary, let's discuss. Opening survey line 1 to 10, a call for broad observation. From China to Peru, life is clouded maze of faith, filled with snares of hope, fear, desire, and hate. Pride misleads, reason rarely guides. Human chase airy good or sun fancied ills. So late observation with the extensive view survey mankind from China to Peru, how rarely reason guides the stubborn choice. Wealth and greed. Gold is wide wasting pest. It corrupts all, breeds crime and bring danger, not safety. The poor traveler is happier than the rich. Lords face more peril than vassals. So corrupt judge hireling ruffians danger to the rich. History shows the poor often live in more peace. Politics, power, and preferment. Men supplicate for greatness, but fortune is delusive. Power brings rivals, fear, falling, favor, and disgrace. So, Cardinal Wolsey rose to power under Henry VIII, fell into ruin. Buckingham, Wheelers, Harley, Wentworth, Hyde are the example who rose to power and ruin, fell into ruin. Scholarship and learning. The young scholar burns for fame but faces toil, envy, want, neglect of patrons, and even jail. Learning brings peril, not guaranteed happiness. For example, Ledard, Galileo, Archbishop Laud. Toil envy want the patron and the jail. Military glory and ambition. Warriors chase fame and conquest. Victory brings temporary pomp but ends in ruin. For example, Charles XII of Sweden, brilliant but fell after Poltava. He left the name at which the world grew pale to point a moral or adorn a tale. Beauty and youth. Beauty is desired, it brings vanity, rivals, and downfall. It fades. Vice and infamy often follow unchecked charms. For example, when Sedley, the fair meanwhile that charm the world are wise but too narrow circle of their eyes. Long life and old age. Prayer for long life ignores that a protected life is protective woe. Old age brings disease, boredom, loss of pleasure, greedy relatives, and isolation. For example, Marlborough in Dotis, swift in decline, few die unclouded, life protracted is protected woe. Conclusion and resolution. Where shall hope and fear find lasting objects? Avoid dull suspense. Pray not for worldly goods but for healthful mind, obedient passion, and a will resigned to God. So give me celestial wisdom from above, a healthful mind, obedient to thy love. Soothe me with the patience, still my turbulent will. Make me resigned and teach me to be still. So the major theme here is vanity of human wishes. Worldly pursuits lead to disappointment, corruption, or ruin. Desire are illusory. Reason versus passion, pride. Reason rarely guides pride. Passion and fancy mislead. Mutability and faith. Fortune is capricious. Success is temporary and unstable. Moral and Christian resolution. True happiness comes from virtue, humility, prayer, and resignation to the will of God. Human condition and corruption, falling and suffering are universal across nation ranks and pursuits. Literary devices and style here used is a heroic couplet, concise, epigrammatic, and memorable, perfect for moral and satirical force personification. Hope, fear, desire, hate, fortune, etc. act as a living force in human life. Allusion and exemplar, historical and classical figure used as moral lesson for readers. Imagery, vivid pictures of mazes, snares, pestilence, decay, downfall, and human folly. Satire and irony, sharp moral critique with irony, contrast, yet underlying sympathy. Antithesis and synecdoche, effective contrast and part for whole figure add strength and clarity. So key lines to remember is late observation with the extensive view, survey mankind from China to Peru. How rarely reason guides the stubborn choice. Toil and we want the patron and the zeal. He left the name at which the world grew pale to point a moral or adorn a tale. Life protracted is protracted woe. Give me celestial wisdom from above, a healthful mind, obedient to thy love. Soothe me with patience, still my turbulent will. Make me resign and teach me to be still. So it is a masterpiece of 18th century neoclassical poetry, combines classical imitation with the Christian morality and human sympathy, reflects Augustine values, reason, order, morality, yet anticipates romantic introspection, timeless critiques of ambition, materialism, and vanity still relevant in modern life.